But in my dream, I was laying in my bed and I woke up and my mother-in-law was sitting on the bed next to me and she was rubbing my legs like so lovingly. And I was like, oh my God, where have you been? And she kind of was like, what do you mean? I've been here the whole time. And she started talking to me, but it was telepathically. Like her lips weren't moving, but I could hear her voice in my head so strongly. I could see her. And I don't remember what she was saying to me, but it was this love that I can't even describe. And it was pouring into me. And I knew that she loved me and I knew that she knew that I loved her. Okay.
Okay, today I am super excited to have a very special guest who's a dear friend of mine that we go way back to our childhood roots together. Her name is Janelle Lombardi, and she is an intuitive energy healer and does Akashic record readings, which honestly I think I'm newer on this spiritual awakening journey than you, so I know what it is, but I'd love for you to educate as we get into it because I have not had that done, and maybe someday I'll have you do mine because
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. But but yeah, let's dive right in, and I'll have you talk about kind of what led you on this path and just tell your story a bit.
Yeah. So I guess I feel like I was always kind of spiritual, but I didn't really know what that meant. I don't know. Like I I always had feelings that I was like connected to something more than what I could see with my eyes. And
Yeah.
my first experience was when I was 21 years old. I was dating my husband. So we weren't married yet. And I lived with his parents, and his
Hmm.
mom suddenly died. And it was very unexpected. She was really young. And that really hit me hard because I had never known anybody, in my adult life that had passed away. And I started creating all of this guilt within me. Like I created this story that like I wasn't nice enough to her and I didn't tell her I loved her. And I just felt like I had a lot of regrets.
Mm.
And it was eating me up inside. And I was really closed off back then. I didn't like to talk about my feelings and show my emotions. And so I didn't really tell anybody that I was feeling so much guilt around this. And it was probably 3 or 4 months later, I was sleeping and I had a dream, but it was not a dream. It was so much more than that. And
Mm. A lucid dream? Was that what you would call it? Like
I,
lucid dreaming?
maybe I don't it was like,
More than that?
yeah, it's not like a dream. I don't know. It was
It felt
so,
real.
yeah, because it felt very real, like it was really happening. It wasn't just
Mhm.
my imagination. But in my dream, I was laying in my bed and I woke up and my mother-in-law was sitting on the bed next to me and she was rubbing my legs like so lovingly. And I was like, oh my God, where have you been? And she kind of was like, what do you mean? I've been here the whole time. And she started
Wow.
talking to me, but it was telepathically. Like her lips weren't moving, but I could hear her voice in my head so strongly. I could see her. And I don't remember what she was saying to me, but it was this love that I can't even describe. And it was pouring into me. And I knew that she loved me and I knew that she knew that I loved her. And I don't even know how long it was happening, but it felt like a long time. It just was like this love that is not human love that I've never felt before. And it just felt
Mm.
so magical. And from that
That's
day forward, I never worried about that again. It was like all that guilt that I created was completely gone.
yeah. Yeah, like you just knew that that the love was there, and those things are human, like the guilt feelings and all those kind of lower vibrations. I think those are all human feelings that they don't feel. I, that's what I think I've learned.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's so cool. So how did that change you? Did you start down this learning path of finding out, you know, things about the spiritual realm from this point on, or was it
Not
something that was kind of in you, or
I guess I it changed me, like, I felt, like, different, I felt like I that was, like, my first time where it's like I knew that there was something more that I was connected to that I couldn't see, and that was my confirmation that there is so much more, and nobody could tell me otherwise because I experienced it for myself. Yeah.
so from that on you kind of that eliminated any doubts you may have had about there being something more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good feeling because I know when I kind of waffle back and forth between this is super real and then I start doubting and thinking maybe I'm crazy, maybe I made stuff up. That's a hard place to be, but if you can get rid of those doubts, it feels so empowering.
Yeah.
Like, no, I was right. This was real.
Yeah. Yeah, just like
So,
and I started having more experiences. Just like my son was in the pool and I heard a voice in my head that told me to turn around. And so I grabbed him out of the pool. And that happened with another little girl that I grabbed from the pool because I heard a thought in my head. And it was just all of these confirmations that I'm not making this up. It felt like it was meant to happen. Like I was meant to have those experiences and like that little girl, I was meant to help her. Um,
mhm,
so
mhm,
yeah, just like learning to just trust it.
mhm. To trust that intuition. And so it's almost like that experience kind of made you believe in yourself, which sort of unlocked the gifts that were already there. But now they've been kind of unlocked and now you know how to trust your intuition.
Yeah, I guess that came later. Like it took me
Okay.
I
Okay,
still
there's more.
yeah, like I still I didn't even know what intuition I mean, I heard the name, you know, like people
Oh,
had told
okay.
me over the years, "Oh, you're intuitive," but I didn't really know what that meant. Um,
Huh.
or, like, I knew what it meant if I could Google it, but, what did it mean for me? And so those experiences were just kind of leading me down the path. And then um, I had my awakening, I would call it, in 2016, and I started getting sick. Like I suddenly had chronic fatigue and cystic acne all over my face. It was so painful. I had digestive issues. Like I couldn't eat the foods that I normally ate.
Mm.
And,
Wow.
I just felt like my body was failing me. I felt like I was falling apart, and I felt depressed. I just felt like, "What's wrong with me? Like, why are all these people around me fine, and they're eating all" they can eat whatever they want, and if I ate one thing that was wrong, I would be sick for a week, and, um so I went through a time where I just felt really depressed and like I didn't know what to do. And I was praying, show me something, like, what can I do to help myself? And none of the doctors knew either. They were like, you're fine, your blood tests are fine. But I wasn't fine. I didn't feel fine.
Yeah. And the way that I remember you too, going back way back, I remember you being very active and very fit. And because I mean, you were a dancer and you're amazing at dance. I remember that. So to go through health things like that, I think would be a huge blow to how you operate in life. Because I do remember you being that way. It's interesting because I was actually just revisiting kind of our old stomping grounds and I had brunch with another girl from high school. So
Really?
it's funny how as you go through this journey, you start attracting these people that are on similar journeys and very similar story. You guys should connect sometimes
Oh,
because
yeah.
She also had a health crisis where doctors didn't know what was wrong. It was around COVID time, and nothing was helping, nothing until she started trying to do some alternative healing methods from someone she met as she changed what she with eating. She was doing energy work. So very, very similar story. And then that just kind of led her on this path of spiritual awakening as well that she's just embarking on. So another fellow centurion who's going down road, but I just love getting to connect with people that are experiencing all these things. It's so cool to see
Mm.
the awakening that's happening. And sometimes it does take those life blows. I think obviously for me, I had a big life blow with the passing of my daughter, and whether it's a passing that causes tremendous grief or it's a health problem that becomes really debilitating and you don't see any way out and it becomes really depressing. All those things kind of put you in that dark night of the soul where
Mhm.
you're searching for answers and searching for meaning and purpose. So I'm excited to keep learning and hearing about yours.
Yeah, I find that I mean, everybody's story is different, but it's very similar where your spiritual awakening, either something really major happens, a passing of somebody, like a job loss, a breakup, or, like something really big, or a health
Mm,
crisis,
yes.
is like kind of the catalyst to take you on this journey.
Yeah. So tell me about how you were able to get out of the health crisis you were in. I mean, you're trying all the traditional things that doctors tell you to do, but did you start trying other things that you felt like were actually the most helpful things for you?
Yeah, I just decided that I was going to heal myself. And I just started doing research on natural healing and herbs and supplements. And I completely changed my diet. I went to a plant based diet. I was like, basically, for a lot of years, I ate fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
It was, yeah, but I started feeling better finally. And
Yeah.
I got to a point where I felt like, you know what? I'm so focused on my physical healing, and I know that I need to heal my soul. Like, I needed to go deeper. And that's when I really got into the spiritual side of things. And I was doing like psychic readings and astrology readings and energy healings. And I was just on a quest to find what was going to help me feel better. And all the while, too, like I knew that I was here to do something more than my 9 to 5. Like I was here to help people, but I didn't really know what that was going to look like. And
Yeah.
so then I kind of was going, like, up and down. I would feel better, and then I would start going I feel like my dark night of the soul came in so many different waves, or maybe it was just a lot of little ones, but
No,
there
I
was
get that. That's yeah, I can relate to that.
Mhm.
I mean,
Uh,
that's life, light and dark, up and down.
yeah, totally.
Mhm.
It's the process of shedding all of the things that really aren't us and that never were us, and to really, like, come back to who we truly are. Um
Yep.
And it's a process
Yeah.
because this world doesn't really make it easy for that.
No, it doesn't operate that way. I get yeah, it's almost like it's that sort of ego death, like, you have to kind of
Mhm.
dissolve all those layers that life and society and everything has layered onto you, and so it's really an unlearning kind of is what I'm learning. All the things that have been programmed into you.
So, in my searching, I found the Akashic Records, and I had my first reading, and I scheduled that reading because I was really struggling I was very emotional, and I'm an emotional person anyways, but I felt like my emotions were all over the place all the time, and I it just didn't make any sense. And I have
Yeah.
a really amazing family. I have a great life. All of the emotions that I was feeling didn't make sense for what
Yeah.
I was experiencing now. And
Mm.
so I had this reading, and she told me that I was experiencing a lot of past life trauma that I was releasing. And that's why I was so emotional, which finally made sense. It was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with me. There's a reason for all of these emotions. It just didn't make sense for right now in this life.
Yeah, yeah, you're not crazy. So explain to people who may not know what Akashic Records are, maybe educate a little bit on what that is. I know a little bit, but to me, when I think of that, it's like this, and you can correct me or expand on this because I'll show how little I know. But I feel like from what I've gathered, we're tapping into this, there's like this information field, like a greater consciousness that we can tap into at times, but a lot of people will use it for past life regression to tap into that and get information of maybe other lives that they've had. You might explain it better.
Yeah, no, that's right. Like, to me, the way I explain it is it's a field of energy. It's like an energetic record of your soul's journey, and it encompasses
Mhm,
like every lifetime, um and every emotion that you've ever had, every experience, every thought. It's all imprinted in the Akashic field, which is, some people call it the ether too. But it's
mm,
this field of consciousness, and it's like all of the experiences that you have is like an imprint in that field. And so when you're reading the records, you're just kind of reading the imprint. And so everyone has Akashic record keepers. And to me, that's just like a spirit guide. And so
mhm,
no one can access your records without your permission. And
mhm,
so they're kind of like the keepers of the record to make sure that whoever's reading your record has access and is in integrity. Um, so like anybody can't just go in and get information about you. And there's so much information in there. And so the way that I do it is somebody will ask a question, and like the broader the question, the broader the answer. So the more specific, you'll get more information from those questions. And so I'm just tuning into that field. I'm asking the questions, and then it just gets dropped in, and then I interpret it through the clair senses.
mm. That's beautiful. Okay, so if you're doing an Akashic record reading, you're sitting with the person and you're getting permission to tap into their records and their energy. And once you have the permission, then you're just trusting what's coming into you. It's kind of being fed to you intuitively,
Mhm.
and you're sharing that with your clairs. So what kind of clairs do you use when you tap into that? Is that audio? How do you
For
feel it?
me, it's kind of all of them, like a mix of all of them. So, clairaudient, I will get inner hearing, a thought will drop into my mind, or I'll hear a word. And you can tell the difference between something getting dropped into your field as opposed to like me creating a thought. It
Mm,
feels different. Um, and then sometimes like clairaudient or clairvoyance, like it's your inner vision. Sometimes I'm shown things, and it's almost like your imagination is how
mhm,
I explain it. Like if you close your eyes, or if you do a guided meditation when your eyes are closed and you can visualize what they're telling you to visualize, that's your clairvoyance.
mhm,
And then clairsentience, sometimes like I'll feel things in my body, certain sensations. And then claircognizance is like just knowing. So that's my strongest. And I feel like that's the hardest one to trust too, because it's like, I feel like anybody who has claircognizance has probably had it their whole life. They just didn't know that it was there. And when you acknowledge it and start working on it, it becomes stronger. But yeah, because it just feels like you. It's like you just know something and you don't know how you know, you just know.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And how do you feed that? How do you make that gift grow and trust it? What do you do? Are there tools you have to help facilitate that knowing?
For me, I just had to just trust, just learn to trust it. Like when something came in and I got validation of like, "Oh, yeah, that was right. What I felt was right or what I saw was right," then I would just acknowledge it and, like, write it down. Like, okay, I started getting all of these validations where it was like, "Okay, I just need to trust that what I'm receiving is correct." And
Mhm.
that's kinda hard to do because I mean, a lot of this stuff, there is not really a validation. It's more like if you tell somebody something and it really resonates with them and they're like, "Oh, yeah," like that's a validation, even though we can't, especially like if it's a past life thing, we can't really know for sure, but it's a feeling that you get.
Right. And so is that what you experienced when you had that first reading for
Mhm.
yourself where you were emotional? It was just a knowing that this feels right in your body, like, "Oh, wow, this explains a lot and this is what I'm feeling." Is that what you experienced?
Totally. Yeah. It just I knew.
Okay.
I knew it was right and everything just made sense and yeah, just being able to see it from a higher perspective too, because that's what the Akashic Records also is like this higher, field of consciousness and it vibrates at a frequency of grace, truth, and love. And so you can see things from a higher perspective. And like everything that we experience is, even if it doesn't feel like a good experience, we can take it as a lesson and learn from that. And just being able to see it from that higher perspective is so healing.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I heard something once, you can't do life wrong. Like, there's no wrong because even if you go down a path that you think, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," that was simply a lesson that helped your soul to grow, to evolve. Um, so yeah, we're here to experience it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions that pop in my mind as I think about past life regression because I've kind of learned through this spiritual awakening that time isn't the way that we see it as linear. So if you've had these other experiences on your soul's journey, I mean, are they kind of not really in the past? Like, I don't know how to make sense of that with my brain.
You know,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because they're just there will be probably future ones from the way that our brain thinks of it and past ones, but they're also all sort of just happening. Like, or are they parallel, like, how do you make sense of that?
Yeah, it's so hard to sit and, like, think about that and explain it. I don't know, but to me, yeah, I do think there really isn't a linear time like we understand it, but that's the way that we understand it to make sense of this human experience that we're having. But I think what's really cool is when, for instance, like if past lives come up in
Mhm.
readings where like I'm helping somebody heal from a past life, or even if you do it yourself, like inner child stuff, you could do it. Or if you know of a past life, you can even do it yourself where you just go and you meditate on it and you imagine that experience and you imagine it happening differently and it will
Mhm.
change you. Like, doing that will help you to heal yourself now and heal the future you. So it's like the past is not really, even though it happened already, it's not set in stone. Like, you can change the past and heal that past version of you, which then shifts all the rest of the versions of you,
So wild.
you know?
It's Yeah, I've listened to a lot of, near-death experiences, and I listened to one recently where the guy was talking about when he had his near-death experience, he went back and he was shown almost like a movie, um, how they do the life reviews, and he went back to his little boy, him, who had gone through some very severe abuse and was being beaten, and during that, he remembers as he was a kid, like, being protected by this kind of, like, angel muscly arm that stepped in and kind of blocked from the abuse, which would have been much worse, and then he realized when he was having that, that was himself.
Oh,
He realized in that moment when he was having this life review that that was his arm, and he was like a big bodybuilder guy, that was his arm, and then when he came out of this experience, he actually had some bruises on his arm, so it was like validation for him. That was me protecting myself, which I thought, "Holy cow, what an incredible story."
yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, so cool. So, okay, so you had this super powerful Akashic Records reading, and did that lead you onto a path of I want to learn more about this and maybe I want to do this? Tell about the next steps after that.
Yeah, after that reading, I just felt so much better. It was like that was what I was searching for the whole time when I was doing all these readings and, healings. And it's like that was the one thing that I felt like I was searching for the whole time. And I felt like because of such the amazing experience I had, I want to do that for other people. But I didn't
Mhm.
know that I had these abilities. I still wasn't aware of it at that point, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so, from this reader, she did classes for psychic development, and I took this class and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I that happens to me," like, learning about my clairs, and so all those magical experiences that I had throughout my life were actually psychic or intuitive, I feel like those are such interchangeable words, but yeah, I didn't know, and so that's when I started developing those gifts which we all have access to. It's not just a select few. Like everybody can tune into that because I feel like that's our true nature is to have these deeper connections with our inner guidance.
Mm.
So then I learned how to read the Akashic Records for myself, and then I took a course to become certified to do it for other people.
That's so cool. So how did learning of these things that were in your soul's journey, how did they help you with this existing journey that you're on? Like, what was helpful to I don't know, to help your soul evolve on this journey just by knowing the other things that you've been through on your path?
A good question. It just I don't know, it all just felt right and learning those things too, it helped me like, I also learned how to do energy healing using the Akashic Records, and I was able to heal myself from I a lot of past life things that were still in my field and still affecting me, and I learned how
Mm.
to heal those things for myself instead of always having to go to somebody else to help me. Um,
Yeah.
and in doing that and learning those things, like being able to do it for myself, just
Yeah,
I feel like makes me a stronger. It just like built up my abilities more so that I could help other people do the same things. And yeah, like when you have an experience, then it's easier for you to help people go through that same
yeah,
experience that they're having because you've been through it. You know what it feels like. You understand it.
totally. It's that empathy factor
Mhm.
because you can put yourself in their shoes because you've had it. That's really cool. So you started taking courses on how to learn this after that, and that inspired you to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. After I started not too long after I took the courses because I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Like it was scary as heck
Yeah,
to do
I
it.
can imagine.
Uh, But yeah, I just did it and I met a lot of spiritual people online and I got to practice a lot. And I don't know, I'm just so grateful that I had a lot of people that I could practice with and that were kind of learning the same thing and going through the same things as I was. So that made it easier to just dive in and just start doing it.
Yeah, that's so cool. One question I have that I've thought of as I've learned about these things as well is, because we kind of have soul families, right? Like people that our souls are intertwined with in multiple lives. I love the thought of thinking this life isn't the only one I've had with my kids. When you've been able to tap into past lives, do you get senses of that? Like, oh, this person was with you in this previous existence, or do you ever get to have those kinds of intuitive things come to you?
Yeah. Yeah, it comes up in readings a lot where you can look at somebody's soul contract and kind of know um if you've had a lot of incarnations with that person, and it can be it can be somebody who you have a very loving relationship with, and it can also be somebody who you don't, and it's kind of like battle or, like headbutting of like, okay, you're learning lessons from each other. But
Yeah.
I do believe in soul pods, and where it's a cluster of souls that very much you have such a close connection and you incarnate with each other in certain roles. Like my husband and my kids, like we totally have incarnated many times together, and maybe not in the same roles that we're in now, but it
Mhm.
feels safe, and we like all just get each other, and we're on the same vibe, like that's what it feels like
Cool.
to me when you're soul family.
That's such a gift too. I think it's rare that you get a whole family that feels like they are safe and get each other. Are your kids also in experiencing all this with you? Like, are they getting in touch with their spirituality?
Yeah, not as deep, like they're not gonna be readers or anything at this time, but yeah,
I mean,
they do.
they're
Like
still
my youngest son, he just turned 18, and the things that he talks to me about, I'm just like, "Wow, I was not like that at 18." But yeah, and
uh,
my husband too, like thank goodness, he's very intuitive as well. He just doesn't choose to develop his gifts like I do, but yeah,
mhm.
I'm so thankful that I have somebody to talk to and that he doesn't think I'm crazy.
It's important. You have a very supportive spouse. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me about how it's been going, how it's evolved from there, and also the energy healing too. Like, it'd be cool to learn about that as well. So what does that look like?
Yeah, the energy healing, I just learned it's interesting because I my teacher talked about it, but didn't really tell me, step by step, this is what you do. She just said, this is what you can do in the Akashic Records, and you really don't even need to use the Akashic Records for it. But
Mhm.
I was like, I know how to do that. Like, I feel like I've done it before. And so I
Mhm.
just kind of started doing that. So basically, I can just tune into the energy field and just move energy. Like we have so much stuff that we experience in our everyday lives, and previous incarnations where if there's just stuck or stagnant energy, it builds up. And so just helping to
So
move that, and um you like you feel better. Like
yeah,
that's the validation that people are like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better after that." And they
yeah,
feel rejuvenated, and
for sure.
yeah.
Well, I mean, everything is energy, and I think energy is meant to flow. It shouldn't be stagnant. And so if you're able to get that flowing and get it moving, that's been huge for me with grief is a lot of times it's like it's always there and you wanna kind of push it down so that you can just keep functioning, but it's like you have to get it moving, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have to just experience it and let it flow through you, just like any emotion. I think they're all energy.
Mhm.
So is that kind of what you tapped into with your own healing of your sickness that you were dealing with your chronic illness? Were you able to use techniques from moving the energy to help yourself out of that?
Now, yeah. Um, now I do that all the time. I do energy healing on myself all the time. Um,
Good.
yeah. So it's
And
and, like, learning to do it myself helps me to be able to do it for other people. I feel like that's kind of like an initiation of once I learned how to do it myself and learn to help myself, then it was like, "Okay, I'm ready to do this and help other people."
and some of that stuff that's stored in there, it sounds like for you, even maybe that could have been from past lives. Like,
Mhm.
do you feel like that was kind of what was making you sick in the first place, was things that were stored in there
I
from
do.
before?
Yeah, I do. I think, there was a lot of just baggage that was
Yeah.
there that was creating this sickness that and it was
Mhm,
just getting my attention. Like, my body I
mhm,
feel like our bodies communicate with us, and it was just getting my attention to be like, "Hey, there's something here that you need to look at and heal," because I really feel like this is the lifetime that I'm here to heal all of this stuff that I couldn't heal I in other
mhm,
lifetimes.
mhm,
That's, like,
mm,
part of my mission for myself, and too, like, I feel like when we really heal ourselves, then we're healing the world, like, we're helping everyone else because we're all connected.
exactly. Yeah. I never thought of it that way before, but it really clicked when I heard someone say you could actually be helping the world just by sitting and meditating. I mean, like monks who are sitting there meditating and just vibing high and sending out love, that's causing this ripple into the world that helps the vibration of the entire earth. So it's crazy to think that like could be doing good in the world just by sitting there meditating and doing something like that.
Mhm.
It doesn't always have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Um, I mean, I'm curious, how long were you in that state of being really sick and depressed, and how were you able to get out of that?
It felt like such a long time. It was a long process. I started getting sick at the end of 2016, and it
Mhm.
was almost a year of me just feeling so depressed and like I would come home from work and just get on my pajamas and lay around. I didn't have any energy to do anything. And it was
Mhm.
almost a year of that, and then that's when I changed my diet and slowly started feeling better, but I still never fully felt like I got there, until
Yeah.
I started really doing the energy work, and so it was like 2024 when I finally felt like I lifted something.
So it was quite a while where you were kind of in a fog that you had to get out of.
Yeah. I mean, at
Yeah.
the beginning, it was more so, and so I was, like, slowly coming out of it, um, and then, like, 2020 when the world was happening, it was like that was another wave of, like I felt better, but it's still all of this stuff was happening, in the outside world and also in my internal world too.
Mhm. Yeah. So what are some ways that you can protect that inner world as the external world? Because I even feel like right now there's so much craziness going on, so much chaos in the world, and it's really hard to not get sucked into that and protect your inner peace. Do you have ways that you protect that for yourself?
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to not get sucked into it. Like and I would say it took years of just, like, inner work, just working on
Mhm.
myself to now I don't get sucked into it. I mean, sometimes you can, but I just am very careful about who I listen to, what I listen, like I don't watch the news. I don't listen to all the fear narratives that they put out because that is not helping me. And if I just look around my personal life, there's nothing, there's no fear, there's nothing that's, scary. But if you listen to the news and you listen to all these, predictions of what could happen, that just pulls you into fear that may never even happen. It's just, I feel like it's just a way to keep people distracted from really coming home to themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious, have you been able to witness people who have done the work? Like maybe they've worked with you or people that you work with who you've been able to witness that transformation of being able to find the inner peace and heal themselves. Do you have any wow stories of things you've been able to witness with what you do?
Yeah, I see people going through their awakenings all the time. I can sense if people are going through an awakening. Like, I could tell by your posts. I was like, she's going through a spiritual awakening. And I love it. Like,
You're right.
um,
Yep. It's been a journey, and it's not like you would imagine too, like you were saying with yours, it's rough. You gotta do a lot of tough inner work, and you just gotta face it and go through it, but it's not like you would imagine, "Oh, a spiritual awakening." It's like, "Oh, I see the light, and I'm enlightened," and it's so not that.
yeah,
It's really just like you said, it's the up and down. It's not linear. It's, going through the depths of darkness and then getting to see the light and going back down and you're just kind of weaving in and out of it. But I mean, it's also a really beautiful thing to get to experience. Like I'd way rather go through all the emotions of feeling darkness and despair and these amazing, loving, blissful feelings than just feeling this numbness. I mean, I don't think we came here to just feel the numbness and not the ups and downs. So,
yeah.
yeah.
We have to go through like the way I look at it is the more you raise your consciousness and go to these higher levels of ascension, you have to go down to the depths of the darkness and pick up art like shadow pieces or like look at the parts of yourself that you don't really like or you feel ashamed of or, like all the things that we experience. Like you have to go down to that darkness to then go higher in the
Mhm.
light.
And you have to love all of them. That's huge for me too, is learning to love all those parts. Yeah, because I think you and I both, I mean, we were talking about this, like my recollection of you when we were younger is we were both kind of the quiet, like perfectionists.
Yeah.
Like maybe we were kind of with the groups because we were dancers and cheerleaders and stuff. So we were in the cool groups, but like not really in them. So we didn't quite fit in because we were kind of quieter. And for me, I felt like I didn't fit in because I was always a deep thinker. Like, uh, why are we here? I don't understand all this high school drama. Or I'm sitting there, pondering the cosmos, but I'm like, I don't want to tell anyone this is what I think about.
Mhm.
But I'm not sitting here thinking about who's wearing the cutest jeans or whatever. So I always felt weird that way, but I didn't like that part of myself. It was embarrassing that I was different that way. And now I love that part of myself. It's so cool to start to love the parts that you shunned before. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
totally felt that same way too. Like I didn't ever feel like I had like a really good friend. I had a lot of friends, but it was like I couldn't talk about all the deep thoughts that I had with anybody. I didn't feel safe to do
I know. Isn't it too bad we weren't better friends back then?
that.
We could have had these conversations. Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny. It's so beautiful to get to start to love yourself. And it's all a journey where you never feel like you're totally there, right? I'll think I'm making progress and oh, I'm feeling so good inside and feel like I've faced all these dark parts of me and I'm learning to love them. And then a day later, I'm going back because it's that familiar place where I've always been where I'm like, oh, I don't like that about myself or but yeah, it's getting better. It's on the right trajectory and you just keep at it.
Yeah, it's just like working through those things and I feel like when you do that, it's like peeling the layers and you peel a layer and you're like, "Oh, I feel really good." And then you kind of calibrate to that energy and then it's like, "Okay, it's time for another layer to be peeled back." And then it's uncomfortable for a little bit.
Yeah. Um, so where are you at now? Or tell us about how people can talk to you and take advantage of the services that you offer with healing and things like that. What are you doing now with everything?
Yeah, I offer everything's over Zoom, so it's all virtual. And I offer Akashic Records readings and energy healing. And I also have a mentorship that I do. And
Oh,
it's like 6 sessions and it's can be combined with Akashic Records or energy healing. Just kind of whatever you need in the moment is what we would do. And
mhm.
so yeah, for that, it's just like whatever's coming up for you, we
Mm.
can work through. And I love it's so cool to do those mentorships because doing individual readings is awesome. But when you get to do it on a longer scale and really see somebody transform, it's so magical. I just love doing that.
That's so cool. What a gift to give someone. That's so cool. And it helps you too, right? I think even with me stepping out and trying to do this podcast, yes, I want to help people because podcasts and listening to people on their spiritual journeys has helped me so much. And so I want to try and give back in that way, but also just getting to talk to amazing people like you and connect with all these people on the spiritual path. It's all so helping me. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah. Can I ask you, like, do you feel like you are tapping into your intuition? Because I could say I feel like you're very intuitive, especially hearing that
Really?
story. Yeah,
Thank
like, hearing the
you.
story about, the stories that you have told about experiences where you're getting from your daughter, like, that's so cool, and I totally feel like you are tuning into that, so
Yeah.
trust it.
Thank you, Janelle. Yes, I do, but I do doubt it a lot. For me, like,
Mm,
I felt like I wouldn't say I was spiritual, even though I was raised religiously, and that kind of fell apart for me later in life. And so then I would say like I didn't know anything, but I didn't know any of this stuff. I literally did not know what a medium was. I didn't, and if I knew kind of what a psychic was, then I thought of, the gypsy that's scamming people or whatever, didn't I didn't know any of this stuff, so it's so eye-opening to me because for the first time in my life, it's like what feels right in my heart. It's a lot of stuff I was even taught growing up. It's like I don't know, that just doesn't totally like some of it resonates, and there's things that are universal, like, with all religions, and I think they have a lot of things right, but there's the more dogmatic, doctrinal things just didn't totally sit right with me. But so far on this spiritual journey, it's like I can tell that it's true, at least for me, just because it feels right in my body, in my heart. There's none of that, "No, that feels a little off," or, "I'm not sure." It's just like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That hits right." And it is learning to trust that. And there's certain things that I realize were gifts. It's been really hard, but I actually feel like intuitively and I had to get to a certain place on my journey to ever say this out loud or admit it, but intuitively, actually, looking back, had sort of like precognitions, things where I sort of knew that my time with my daughter was short.
Mhm.
And that's because if I look back at that old me, I think I just had this whole life envisioned of how my life was gonna go, and my kids are gonna grow up and do this, and, like, based on their personalities, I could kinda see what career they'd go into, who they're gonna marry. You have these visions for your kids, and for some reason, I could see my older daughters very clearly. I could see my sons, and I always had this, like, blank thing when I would try and look at Mikkel's future, and I'm like, "That is so weird. I don't know why. I just can't picture, like, who she would marry or I don't know, and, I had this moment a few weeks before she passed where we were just sitting in the car talking, and she was very, very passionate about things she was talking about, and she was talking about how crazy people were not the crazy people, and that, like, she had this friend that, had hallucinations or something, and she was in the mental health institute, and she's like, "But she's not crazy, mom," and they put her in there, and she's so passionate about these things, and I'm just looking at her thinking how unusual she is. Like, this is not something normal for a girl who's just turned 14. Just that moment stuck with me so profoundly where I just sat with it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, this is very unusual to be so passionate about saying the crazy people are not the crazy people. And in that moment, sitting in the car with her, that was one of the first times I can think of where I had an actual, like, almost audible voice inside me that said, "You're going to lose her." And it was like a gut punch that knocked the air out of me, and I remember thinking, "What's wrong? What kind of mom would think that? There's something wrong with me," and just, like, beating myself up over it, like, that's crazy, like, why would a mom think that? And I ignored it, but the little part of me that thought, "Maybe it's true, maybe it means, like, when she's 40," but the little part of me that thought, "Maybe it's real, I'm gonna just treasure every moment with her, and I remember just, like, looking at her and brushing her hair and soaking it all in and thinking, "This child is very precious to me. I'm gonna soak in every moment with her," and I would just look at her and memorize the little flecks of blue in her eyes and the little freckle on her chin, and I was given that gift before she passed, I think for a reason, and I think it was so I could really be present with her those last weeks before she passed, and that was definitely an intuition.
Yeah.
I can't deny it, that definitely happened, and, the first time I heard your soul's exit point is kind of a soul contract, like you were given this amount of time and kind of before you come here you plan on, okay, it's like me and my daughter maybe had this, okay, mom, I'm gonna do this, like, I love you and I'm gonna give this many years with you, and but then this is gonna help wake you up and it's gonna be really hard,
Mhm.
but this this was planned. And I heard that on some podcast and I thought that's ridiculous. When I first heard it, I went, I would never want this. Why would anyone want this? It's so awful. Um, but then I sat with it and it felt right. I'm like, you know what? It it does make sense. It does feel right. And in a way it also sort of removes some of the guilt because like you were talking about the guilt, there's always this, what if I would have done something differently? What if I could have done more growing up what if I did something wrong as a mom that made this happen? If if it was her time or if it was that person's time, it was their time.
Mhm.
And I also heard this one thing, where if it's your time, all the medicine in the world will heal you, and if it's not your time, all the arrows coming at you or whatever is not going to kill you. I think those things are generally pretty much part of your soul's original plan. So it's been so much learning for me, so much awakening, so much eye-opening. Um, and I am learning to tap into those intuitive gifts that that are there. And it's cool because that's how I can connect with her
Mhm.
is once I'm in that energy where I get my energy to a level where I feel like maybe my vibration is resonating in a way that's hers, that's when I start seeing all the synchronicities and the signs. And that is so cool to get to experience. So yeah, it's been really, really eye-opening and beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
yeah.
that is so cool that I
Yeah.
just feel like you're like, when you talk about your daughter, I just feel like she's such a light, and it's like I was thinking about this too, like, before we jumped on the call, how exactly what you said, almost like your daughter maybe, she played that role for you, and you have, like, such a strong connection, and then it was, like, almost like a gift to help you to go through your awakening in this life, and I really feel like there are some people that pass, and then they become someone's, like, on their spirit team, and I kind of feel like your daughter's on your spirit team now. I don't think that happens for everyone, but I totally feel like she's there cheering you on and helping you, and yeah, it's so beautiful.
I love that you said that. I love to think of it like that because I think all of our souls are, especially if you're in a soul family or soul pod, they're so intertwined. And what's cool for me is too, as I'm figuring out myself and to love myself, those parts of the little girl me, like before all these layers and masks got put on, I realized that the little girl me was a lot like my daughter
Mm,
and I all the things I admired about her, I'm like, "Oh, those are all the things I buried to try and fit into this world." But that, like, just zest for life and curiosity and just trying to live life to the fullest and experience everything and big dreams and things that she was, wait a minute, those things I loved about her, like, that's me.
mhm.
So we're so intertwined and it's cool to see glimpses of that start coming back through me. And yeah, I feel like that's just her being around. It's been such a cool journey. I I can share, I just posted about this, but when I was back in California, even all that was just so kind of bizarre how I ended up there, but I felt like it was supposed to be. It was nostalgic. I went back to my, childhood home, but I'm in real estate and I'm in Utah and I helped someone buy a house out here and I happen to have a California license that's been sitting there dormant for years, inactive. And she said, "Oh, I have a house to sell in California too." And I went, I could activate my license. It would be a good reason to go out there and make it a business trip, but get to go to the beach because I really miss the beach. And it happened to be right near where we grew up. Like, I mean, it was 15 minutes up the road. So yeah, I'll do it. And I go out there and I reconnect with another old friend from high school and we talked about our spiritual journeys and then I saw that this medium that I'd been following that I really liked on Instagram was doing a book signing up near Santa Barbara at this cute little bookshop. And so I drove up there and the craziness of what happened in that reading, it just became a huge validation again, where I'm like, there's really something to this, and I need to trust it because there were, oh gosh, I could feel like I could go on forever about all these cool things. But
Yeah.
while I was out there, I was filming some content for this listing I had, and I went to this park where they filmed ET, and so I was like, oh, cool, this is where the ET park where they filmed this amazing movie, and there's a tree there that was kind of burnt at the park, and it had all these flowers at the bottom, and then a picture of this boy on the tree. And I just sat there and I felt like a crazy person, but I don't know, I have a heart for like people who have passed on because I'm like, are they with my daughter? So I just went and I sat next to this tree and I started talking to this boy that I've never met. And I'm like, "Is anyone around here? I'm just gonna sit at this tree with these flowers." And I started talking to him, and I'm like, hope you're doing well. I just want to feel your energy and sit here. And I like to think maybe you and Mikkel are up there laughing at me for talking to a tree. And, and I'm like, are you guys up there laughing at me? And how's my daughter doing? And so I'm just sitting there trying to connect with this boy. And then I said, can you give me a sign that tells me that you're hearing me right now, what I'm saying, and it needs to be very, very obvious because I will not get it unless it's super obvious. And I said, my daughter is butterflies. If I see butterflies or hawks, like those are representative of my daughter. So what's yours? Like, give me a very, very distinct sign. And as soon as I left that tree and walked to get back in my car, and I shut the door to my car, a hummingbird flies across my windshield and just hovers there for like 30 seconds, looking at straight at me through the windshield. And, and I'm like, okay, that was obvious. Thank you. You're okay. So a hummingbird is your sign. Got it. And then it's just one thing after another. And then I get in my car, and this is in LA area where there's traffic, and I pull up to a stoplight and I'm just stopped there. And then a yellow butterfly comes, same thing across my dashboard. And the butterfly's just hovering there for a minute and then flies off across the road on a highway in LA. And I go, hey, that's cool. That's her sign. And then I went up to this beach later on my way up to Santa Barbara to this reading, and this is what I posted about, but I saw these flowers that were out of place just sticking out of the sand like someone had set a bouquet there, and it just struck me, and I thought I'm gonna take a picture of that because that's weird. I don't know why that's there. And then when I go into the reading, and that was the first thing he said. He said, your daughter wants you to know that the yellow flowers were for you. And just my jaw dropped open. And I'm like, that's just the intuitive part of me that thought to recognize that and to take a photo of it. I feel like if I hadn't been in that place where I'm starting to trust these things about myself, I never would have thought, look at those flowers. That's significant for some reason. Take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And he went on, and there were so many crazy things. After that, I think you said the yellow butterfly that you saw was also for you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what
Wow.
is happening right now? But he talked about our little dog, the little pug that had jumped on me. We got her after my daughter passed because my 10-year-old boy had been asking for a pug for a long time, and we just, well, we already have a dog and she's getting older, but um I don't think we were ready for a second one. But we ended up just everything aligned, and we got him this dog a few months ago, and she's so full of life and jumpy and silly and makes weird little faces. And I mean, she'll just like cock her head and stick her tongue out, and which is a face that Mikkel would make. And not that I think she's Mikkel, but I think Mikkel gave us a gift, in particular, probably even my son, because that hole, that's where she was in the family. Her name's Poppy, and she's a little like beige little pug. Just before I left to go to California, my older daughter had said, "Does Poppy remind you of Mikkel?" And I said, yes, I always think that. Thank you for saying that. And then the medium brought that up too. He said, I'm seeing like a little dog, a little beige dog, and you guys joke about it. And she kind of cocks her head to the side and like she's looking at something. And I just went, yeah, we were just talking about that. And so it was like one thing after another. At the end, the thing that really got me is I love dolphins. I love the ocean. I've always loved dolphins since I was little. And it was a dream of mine to get to swim with dolphins. And I had taken, it was the last trip that we got to take as a whole family before Mikkel passed. And it was a little over a month before she passed. We went swimming with dolphins. And I have pictures of her with this dolphin in the Bahamas. Also, she gave me a ceramic dolphin that I found when I was cleaning and that she had painted, and she wasn't a good artist, so it was just, like, sloppily painted, and I didn't put it up at the time, but as I was now that she's passed and I found it in this box, I went, "I'm gonna put that on my shelf," and I did, and at the anniversary, so she passed on January 12th, and I kinda didn't wanna be in my home on that date, and I had planned this meditation retreat that was in Florida for around that time, and I went and I meditated on the beach in Florida, and, when I opened my eyes from the meditation, a dolphin literally came out of the water in front of me and, like, popped down right when I after I opened my eyes, and I just start crying because 'cause I'm like, "I know." That was a gift
Mhm.
to me, all dolphin things, and then again, the medium brought that up, like, toward the end of the readings, he said, "I'm getting an image of a dolphin," and that was when I just completely lost it, and, like, this is just undeniable, just how many signs and connections we can have if we just open our eyes to it and believe in it and trust in it. It's been so amazing to be on this journey.
How what you could probably write a book from all of these things.
I want to write a book, Chanel, I do. I thought I would start with this, but I've started journaling a lot of it, and I thought someday I'll put all this together in a book, but, um yeah. I'm not a writer, I'm not a speaker, so all of these are outside of my comfort zone. Every time I do I haven't done that many episodes yet, but every time I do and I get so nervous, I'm like, I'm not a person who ever liked to talk in front of a camera, but here I am doing it, and
Yeah.
I never thought of myself as a writer, but now I'm journaling all the time, and so I'm exploring all these new things, and it's fun. So thank you for
Have you ever read Journey of Souls?
No, I don't think I've read that one. I've read a lot of things, but I think that's on my list of ones I want to read.
Mm.
So, what's that one about? Kind of give me the high level.
It's been a while since I read it, but I it's just this he's like a doctor. Maybe he's a I don't remember exactly, but he took people through kind of like a past life regression, I guess. Maybe I'm getting this so wrong, but basically took people into hypnosis to remember all of like the in between lives and all this stuff. And it's just so fascinating. And it really helps open up the perspective of just each lifetime and the journey that we have. And I really do believe, that you don't pass away unless your soul agrees to it, and you've done everything that you came to do in that lifetime. I don't know, I feel like you would like that book.
I definitely would. I'll bump it to the top of my list because it sounds Yeah, but I've had a couple readings now, and, yeah, one of the things that I had in this other reading was they said that Mikkel's soul, maybe not her human little girl, but her soul knew that she could help more people from the other side than here, and really all she wanted to do with her life was help people. She said that over and over again. And I think that's so true. I really don't think my soul would be on this journey. I would have just kept doing what I'm doing. So I know for me, it's been tremendously helpful, even though I'd still rather have her back, honestly, of course. But that's my human me wanting that because I miss her so much. But if I look at how much help it's probably going to help her friends and her siblings, and even though it's so hard for all of us to have an angel that's protecting you and connecting with you and guiding you and awakening you. Like that's also a huge gift. And so I do think that's probably was her soul's journey, which is, yeah, pretty beautiful, as hard as it is.
Yeah.
So that's good. Thank you. Yeah, but I'm super curious. I haven't tapped into a lot of these things that you're talking about. So sometime we'll have to set up a call where you can help me with my Akashic Records
Totally.
reading.
Too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Well, one thing I like to ask at the end of my podcast is what was your biggest aha moment as you've been on your spiritual journey?
Oh my gosh. I don't there's so many.
It's hard to pick. Maybe,
No.
yeah, big top 1 or 2.
I mean, I guess the first aha moment was when, my mother-in-law came to me. That changed my life. Um,
Like, what was your aha moment when that happened? Was it, "Wow, this is not all there is, like, I always knew there was something greater, like, this is my proof."
yeah, like all of that. I just suddenly knew and believed the love was like I needed that. She was so connected with me that she knew that that's what I needed because I never told anybody what I was going through. I was secretly experiencing all of this guilt and sadness and grief within me, but I never told anyone. And so it's like she knew that, even though I never said it out loud. She knew that that's what I needed. And I really think
Yeah.
that I would have made myself sick, like ill, if I hadn't
Mhm,
kept all of that in.
mhm,
And I guess reading the Akashic Records, I guess I can't think of like a certain thing, but because it happens all the time, but just telling somebody something that I I get and they're like, "Oh yeah," it just changes them in
mhm,
a way that it's like a validation for them too. And so all the time I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool." Like I'll tell my husband and he's like, "Yeah, you already know this." But it's all validating these things when, something comes through and I tell somebody something and it really resonates with them and it helps them.
So cool. Thank you so much for sharing this. And how can people reach you if they want to talk to you, schedule something? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Janelle the Intuitive, and then my website is janelletheintuitive.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for today, Janelle. This has been
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you for having me.
Yes.